Rex. It is what it is. But everybody, welcome to the whatchamacallit episode of Born in Trouble. You thought that I had keeled over and died. But guess what? Some of you were hoping that. But you're not that lucky yet, motherfuckers. I'm still here. And guess what? I'm back to wait. If I'm wrestling, I'm back in the heavyweight division where I belong. You can't hold a good man down. Welcome, everybody. This is John X. I'm your host of the podcast, Born in Trouble. We are here once more to resume our nonsensical conversation. But they're not really nonsense compared to some of the other shit that y'all hear. And anyway, of course, I'm here with this Kitty Wing King, Mr. Grant Lancaster.
What up, though? How you feel?
Feeling better now after seeing
Yes,
you.
sir.
What's been going on?
You're looking a lot better, man.
Yo, thank you, bro. I'm a lot happier.
A lot better.
Yeah, I've been fighting this. For y'all that don't know, or you didn't listen to some of the earlier conversations, I am a cancer survivor now. I'm a survivor. Not gonna get Anyway, I'm not gonna sing either like that. I'm not gonna sing that, but you know, I'm a survivor and everything is good now. Strong, you know. The comeback was worse than the actual journey. The journey was actually interesting. Just getting my brain back to this point where I could even have these conversations back and forth was really the hardest part. I was probably about 90% the last time we did a podcast, which was about a month ago. Now I'm probably about 100%, feeling a lot better and dealing with really getting back integrated into the world, you know, which is really a big thing.
Good.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I just had a skin cancer and melanoma screening today. And proud to announce that your boy is healthy as a horse.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I thought you were going to say, I'm like a horse. I was going to say, like, you know.
Yeah, as we get to these ages, man, you know what I mean? Like the years go by and you got all of a sudden you have more things to worry about. So yeah, you gotta get these things done.
You most definitely do. It's not a game, it's not a joke. Rob is also a cancer survivor. Myself, there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that actually drop. You know, I feel good. I knew I was back. Like last week, I was arguing with this dude online, or he was more arguing with me. I don't really argue with people online. They try to argue, but I'm right. So it is what it is. But it was about the it was about the Michael Jordan thing. You know, these cats, they like will go to the death for Michael Jordan, LeBron, who was the best player. You know, and really, honestly, let's be honest, like, what does that shit fucking matter in the grand scheme of things? You know what I'm saying? An unprovable hypothesis, if there ever was one, is who was the best basketball player to ever play the game. The most unprovable hypothesis ever. You got different theories, eras, whatever. And I just started breaking it down on dude, like you do most of the times in discussing stuff that happened back in the 80s and the 90s when they were actually playing the games. When a lot of times me and you were watching the games, like either in our dormitory at Howard University or, you know, back at your house back in Bewood, you know, and, you know, this cat's looking at me and he's saying there's no possible way that you saw that shit. There's no possible way that you're that old. And I'm like, motherfucker, right? What the fuck are you talking about? You know? And it's a brother too. And I'm like, dude, don't you realize that black don't crack? Niggas, black don't crack. You know?
Listen, when I tell my, you know, the fire department, we've been inundated with younger people. I shouldn't say inundated, but we've done a lot of hiring over the past couple of years. So there's a lot of young people. And when I say young people, I'm talking 30 and less. And, you know, just hanging out with these dudes as you get to know them and you start talking about stuff. And when I tell people that I'm going to be 56 in August, They're like,
Mhm.
dog, I would have never thought that you were 56 years old or
Congratulations, bro.
55. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's like, man, I thought you was like 40, 45, somewhere in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, but it's the same thing, you know what I mean? And I think it's a testament to, just kind of being close to the people, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And engaging with people enough to stay relevant enough that young people, don't even like what you do is seamless.
Right.
They don't
Right.
know the difference.
Yeah. They can't comprehend what the deal is.
Right.
And, we are elders at this point.
Yeah.
We are the elders in our community at this point. And it's really weird with the dynamics of today because, like, we have all this knowledge. And one of the reasons why we have this podcast is we try to share our knowledge with other people.
Right.
And a lot of times, if you just offer it up, these motherfuckers don't want to hear it. They don't want to know what it is. And that's really the thing is what they don't understand is that those stories and that history of where we are and where we came from, those are the building blocks of where we are today. And those are the things that, especially now with all the things that are going on in the world, these are the things that are going to keep you alive.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Those survival things. One of the reasons why you see a lot of the things going on in the world today is that we have a lot of people that are basically they try to crush us. They
Yeah.
try to crush us. They went after the black women first,
Mm.
and a lot of it is our fault. That's the thing about what we talk about. It's like personal responsibility. Like,
Right.
my life has been such that I have been fucked up in the game. I have been attacked, and I have really been attacked by these systems of government and these
Mhm.
things in different ways. Now, the difference being with me and most people is that I understand that me saying that or me complaining about that ain't gonna make a fucking difference. The only thing that's gonna make a difference is me getting out there and changing that situation. And those are the only things that have gotten me out of it. Somebody's going to call you they're gonna call you all these different types of things. It's like that guy who runs around calling people the N-word, the white guy, and then he pepper sprays people if they, get too aggressive after
Right.
this.
Uh-huh.
That ain't just a clown. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He a clown,
Mhm.
but he's right about the responses that he gets. When people start, listen, that dude ain't shit. It's like when I'm arguing with people, when I'm talking to people online and they say stupid stuff, do you think I'm going to go all out of the way in order to convince them that they're stupid or to try to make them smarter? They already know what they're saying is stupid. They know it's wrong. They know what they're doing. They're just trying to get a reaction. If you buy into the reaction, then you're stupid. And black people didn't in the past always buy into the reactions of what's going on around them. And
Right.
and, and that's like really where we have to return to, or we have to really be in that space.
Right.
You know,
So I think a lot of that is so we learned from our parents who physically experienced these things. And like there was no internet or whatever, you know what I mean? Like if the Supremes were coming, when my mom was young, the Supremes were coming to town, like she had to physically go buy tickets. You know what I mean? And the word spread through radio, and there was like one radio station. You know what I mean? So it was the point being that it was a much more concentrated thing, and everybody had kind of a similar experience,
Mhm.
right? Even us, ours, it got a little bit bigger, but even in when we was at Howard, we still, had to go to the venue to get some
Mhm.
tickets for something. Or, you know what I mean? Like we had telephone, but I mean, there was no pagers, there was no internet, there was no texting, there was none of that. Like you had to be in the place in
Mhm.
order to capture that memory,
Mhm.
right? But now, fast forward to these NASA computers that are now in our pockets. You don't even have to be
Mhm.
there,
Right.
right? So the experience is way different if you are not it's an immersive. We had immersive experiences.
Mhm.
They don't have immersive experiences like that anymore. At least not on those levels, right? Everything that we did was an immersive experience.
Mhm.
They don't. The only things that they do that are immersive now are, like things that are set up for them. Like if they like play sports,
Mhm.
she's volleyball, swim, doing her little self-defense thing, like those are immersive experiences for her. But I mean, just being online and, being able to pull up or, a concert is coming or an album is coming out. I remember standing in line at Sam Goody to buy, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, right?
Mhm.
There is no standing in line anymore, right?
Mhm.
With everybody anticipating buying the same joint. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, it ran out.
Mhm.
It don't run out anymore.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it makes the experience now exclusive. Everything is about exclusivity, about like, the next step up. And
Right.
the problem with that, and the reason why I even mention it, I even want to talk about it, is that we've taken media and we've taken life and we've boiled it all down to one thing. And, can you guess what that one thing is, Grant, that I'm gonna say?
Success.
Okay, I'm close enough. I was thinking money.
Oh,
You know,
no, same thing.
I'm thinking honestly money. And then it just occurred to me the other day that, like, we have food, clothing, and shelter. Those are the three basics that any human on this earth really needs. But
Hmm.
nowhere in that did it's not food, clothing, shelter, and money.
Right.
It's food, clothing, and shelter. And I had watched something online where they were talking about how they had built all these great places in Rome and Europe at one point, and it was using a guild system. And the guild system was very interesting. It was basically socialism. All these great places that you see is basically technically socialism. The guild you would come up, you would be a stonemason. And
Hmm.
as the years came along, as a stonemason, you moved up in, stature, in quality, whatever, in respect in the community. But the thing is, none of these things were ever paid for with money. Not a
Right.
they have all these great big buildings, and they have the records, and the records of these things say and state that no money ever passed hands. But at the same time, these people that were members, they had homes, they got food every day, they were able to have 2, 3, 4 kids, depending on, what their status was or their stature in the guild was. But money wasn't even a part of the equation. And what we have now is actually the opposite of that right now. And the reason why I'm saying that is that I don't really like to be the type of person that sits there and sits around and talks about the rich, because
Right.
the first thing that they say is like, you're proposing to eat the rich. But in the interim, while they have you on this defensive stance on the back of your heels, they're actually consuming us slowly.
Hmm.
And something's got to change.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking.
Well, the slow boiling frog doesn't know that it's boiling,
Mhm.
right? You
Oh,
put it
he
in the cool water, and put that cool water on the stove. Eventually, it begins to boil, and it never knows,
yeah.
right? That's kind of how we are. But when you remove the feeling of it, and that's where I was kind of going. When you remove the feeling of doing these things, and it's
Mhm.
just kind of the words on paper. So I've never really been big on history because history to me was just words on paper,
Mhm.
remembering names and dates. I mean, I could do it, but I was
Mhm.
never really big on history. But the things that I've done that I remember and experiences that I had, those things are indelibly in me,
Mhm.
right? But now people are not having those things. So it's easier to pull the wool over people's eyes because they don't understand the feeling that should come with whatever stimulus.
Right.
You feel me? So
Mhm.
so so if you can do that, because people love to talk about what's wrong, but
Mhm.
are you motivated enough to make a change?
And that's really where we are. Because, like, listen, we talked about our ages. I'm not getting up and marching. I'm not fighting with anybody.
Mhm.
And the truth of the matter is that if I were to go down in a fight of that nature, in that way,
Mhm.
most people would be like, he was just a crazy old fucker.
Right.
So, it's just like, that's just the way it is. So I can't really fight for your rights per se. That's the way I look at it. It's the same way like black people. I've been so proud of black people during this entire thing, staying out of it, basically. Staying out of it. That's all
You
you have
think
to
that's
do.
the way?
I really do in this case, or it has been, or it has been. And also at the same time, with them staying out of it, you'll notice that because they stayed out of it so much, they had to stage an assassination with a black guy. No, they had
Well, they stage 2.
the stage two, but the second one was the black guy. A black
Right.
guy who was like, at a workshop with the vice president's wife at one point. You know what I'm saying? And in this video, when you show these videos, you see these videos, and this guy has a long gun and he's walking
Right. Yeah.
he's walking outside of the door. And if he walks outside the door with that gun, just gotta imagine all the people that were there looking at him like, hey, there goes a motherfucker with the gun. What's he doing now?
Right.
He's talking to
Right.
the guy with the police dog who hit on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this guy's got something. The dog is literally following. And you turn your back and you walk away and he runs through. And the next thing you know, it's like, it's so friggin' obvious that they are not getting the response from the black community that they were expecting and anticipating with everything going on. And one of those reasons is like something that you and I have talked about, privately, and maybe even on the show before. And that's simply that whether people like to admit it or not, they demonize us. They call us all these different names, but black people are the moral compass of this country.
Mhm.
And when you remove all the black people from out of all these different spaces, you lose the moral compass. And the reason why black people are the moral compass or have traditionally been the moral compass of this country, it's because we've been getting kicked in the ass and treated unfairly. So when we get an opportunity to get some type of authority, a lot of times we are the sticklers.
Right.
We are the rule followers. We are the ones that want to make sure that everything goes down the correct path.
Mhm.
And what we don't see now is we don't see better things. Like, I look at this whole place, and it's really like it's weird because I don't know whether to laugh, cry, cheer, or because, like, on one hand, with the way that these systems are, I've always felt that these systems need to be broken.
Absolutely. So, and that's so I'm gonna say this. I think the most symbolic thing that has happened so far is the destruction of the White House.
Mm,
Now, don't get it bet. You could tear the whole motherfucker down. I don't give a fuck about the White House. But just the fact that this clown has defaced and destroyed uh what America considers to be a national monument,
mm,
right? The White House is a big deal. And for this joker to get there and decide that he's gonna make it over in his image, right? That's, to me, that's the biggest symbol of all this shit. Like, your inferiority complex is so big that the only thing you can think to
mm,
do to validate yourself, you already won the presidency on some bullshit. But
mhm.
the only thing that you could think to do to further validate yourself or to make yourself seem like, like you the man, right? You tear down the White House and you gonna build something that's even bigger than the White House
Right.
as an
Right.
as an addition to the White House,
Mhm.
right? Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's so egotistical, and it comes from such a small place.
It's funny
That's
you
the
say
biggest
that.
problem.
It's funny you say that because it's like as you were saying that, I was just thinking in the synopsis was, tell me you have a small penis without telling me you have a small penis.
Exactly. Exactly.
And this is exactly like what we're experiencing here. And like, everyone that's out here clapping and cheering and everything, not everyone, because it's not everyone. It's only a small group of people right now. I think if the majority of Americans really had their choice right now to change their vote, to go back and change their vote, I think a lot of them would. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, that's not doing us any good today. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's not doing us any good today. And it might not have done us any good back then, based upon some of the things that he snickered about, possibly about, we don't want to get in any type of trouble here on YouTube.
Right.
Right. Like, going on and talking about different things that may or may not have occurred beforehand. But we obviously see what's been going on. And I don't understand how, like, there's no possible way. I'm not going to argue with these guys because it's like with every movement that they do, it seems as if they proves that they're not the superior anything. And pretty much, if you think you're superior at anything based upon your race, there's probably a problem with you anyway. And I'm not just talking to white people right now. I'm talking to everybody. You know,
So
there's a bunch of Hispanics, there's a bunch of black people, there's a bunch of white people and everything. And a lot of y'all motherfuckers just men. Go ahead.
Mhm.
What do you think?
so just a small anecdote. So we had one of my cousins got married Saturday. So family goes up to it's in a city called Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids is like 2 hours from Detroit. And anywhere in Michigan outside of Detroit and probably Lansing is as white as it can be.
Mm.
So we get to Grand Rapids and we're in this hotel, nice hotel, but we're downstairs getting something to eat. And there's like we're the pepper and the salt shaker,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's sitting there and she is like, why are these white people just staring at us? And my response to her was, if you saw God, what would you do? You would probably sit there with your mouth hanging wide open, staring too.
Mm.
They know, they know,
They do.
and yeah, and it's no question that we know that we're the original. We know that whether you believe the story of Yakub or the Tower of Babel or whatever however the people complexions became what they are and language became what it is. However that came about, we know what the original is.
Mm-hmm.
And when the truth steps in, the lies got to sit down.
Yeah. 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 And I have to, I mean, like personally, it's like, and even forget about personally, like, we don't really hate on people, you know.
No.
And what I find weird and what I find bad is like, I'm always telling young people now, and like this is one of the things that we started when we first started talking about on the podcast. I was saying, I used to tell you all the time, I'm always cognizant of not becoming my oppressor.
Mm-hmm.
That is the thing I'm most cognizant of. So I don't want to be your dumbass racist self or by yourself. Meaning, I don't want to walk into a room and judge the entire room based upon the fact that they don't have the same skin color as me. That's
Right.
stupid. That makes me weak.
Mm-hmm.
That
Right.
means I'm walking into it from a weak spot. I'm never going to do
Mm-hmm.
that. Now I'm going to assess the situation. I'm going to look, and that doesn't mean I'm going to walk up here like Uncle Ruckus and everything
Right.
and be like, hey,
Right.
how you guys doing? Or blah, say blah. But it's very easy with me when it comes to energy. I return the energy that I receive. If I
Mm-hmm.
receive the negative energy, then you're going to get it back. And we basically have better energy than most people. So it just, I'm better at it. I should
Right.
say. I'm better at it. And I just want to continue with that. But today we have all these people that, like, they really are leaning into their race. and their racial issues, and it doesn't make them smarter. It doesn't make them better, and it really isn't making any of us any better off if we're going to be honest about it.
Nah,
You know?
so I mean, but race is a an American. It's something that comes out of slavery,
Hmm.
right? Race was not a thing until uh the white people that were in power decided that they needed the poor white people on their side.
Slavery, right?
That's when it became a thing. Before,
And
because before there were no white people. There were people would tell you they were Irish, they were
mm,
German, they were English, whatever, whatever they would tell you, Slavic. But now it's just lumped into a category of white. But that's because that's what this country is built
mhm,
on.
mhm. Well, that's the difference between now and then. Now everybody wants to be white, and the reason why is because it's different reasons. Like the name of this episode is like the Conflation Congregation. And the reason why I decided on that is because the word conflation means taking two different things and putting them into one and
Hmm.
pretending that those two things are the same, and
Hmm.
they're not. And that's what we basically have. So in this conflation congregation, what we have is we have the poor whites and the rich ones. Okay.
Right.
And no matter how much you try, poor whites, you're not going to be the rich whites. They're not going to treat you the same way. They don't have love for you. And as a matter of fact, they've been slow walking everything that they gave you over the past 100 years back.
Hmm.
They've slow walking it back. They're taking all your stuff too. One of my biggest decisions that I have to make right now is how hard to get back into the real estate business. Do I get into it and do I not get into it? And let me tell you why that is a decision for me, because you know that I do short sales mostly and I help
Hmm.
distressed homeowners mostly. And we're in a situation right now where by the numbers, you're looking at more short sales and more foreclosures than we've seen since I first started getting it when I first got into the business in 2012. Okay.
Okay.
So we've got all these people that are looking at losing their houses. And the difference being now and then is that one of the reasons why they're losing their houses is because of AI and employment. Forget about all the black people that you just fired because of the fact that they're black and you can now
Right.
do it. It's now safe and it's okay for you to do it. Now it's you guys' turn. It's everyone else's turn. And they're coming for y'all too. They're coming for your
Hmm.
house. And with my situation having gone through all these things, I don't know if I want to enter into that sad space again because I am an empath and I do empathize with my customers. I do empathize with my clients. When you're losing your house, sometimes I spent nights not being able to sleep because I was trying to save somebody's house or do something different when I was a mortgage bank. I don't know if I want to be in that space.
Right.
But this is the economy that we're looking at right now. And people need to wake up and recognize and realize that this is not going to be easy. It's not going to just go away. AI has your job. Okay. They have your job. So with that in mind, you can't, don't expect anything to come in and you voted for this guy for president. There ain't gonna be no bailout. His bailout is going to be telling you, get your gun and go take it from your neighbor or your former neighbor. You don't have to look at them like their neighbors anymore because guess what? We're pulling back all their protections. And that's not going to end well. It's not going to
Right.
end well for a lot of them, a lot of people, period. And at the end of the day, what's going to happen is there's going to be less people and they don't really care about that anyway. All these people walk around here, we all walk around so self-important thinking that somebody cares about you. But at the same time, we all know that America is an individual sport. Don't nobody give a fuck about you except for your parents most of the time and your family members. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You are blessed if you are like us and you have a circle of friends that actually gives a fuck about you. If I got to
Hmm.
get in a car and come ride for you, I'm about to say that word, but I'm not going to say it. I'm riding. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? You know what
Uh
I'm
huh.
saying? I don't have to
Yeah.
say it twice. You know, it is what it is and everything. Most people don't care about other people. We stop caring about our fellow man. We stop understanding the very simple basics of being good neighbors. Because if your neighbor is doing good, then I'm doing good. And even though a lot of those people in the 60s and 70s were prejudiced and they had their own issues, it was different because those people, our parents went to work with those people, and those people knew enough that if something was going on, if they didn't weren't getting at their house, then there was going to be problems over there. But the problem is that people don't have power like they used to have power. Everyone else has the power. You know, go ahead.
I think that's because the power is in the community, right? The community, a fist is stronger than a finger,
Mhm.
right? So if the power is generated from the community and somehow we've learned how to eliminate the community and make everyone an individual seeker, right? If so when I get my money, right? There's no community aspect. When I get mine, that's the thing now.
Mhm.
That's the push that America that's the push that they send out there, particularly to poor people, is the you gotta if you get out there and do it by your if you get out there and do it by yourself, you can then become one of these elites.
Mm, mm.
But that push or that chase of the dollar has pushed us all away from community.
You know what? I was thinking today, and you're going to find this interesting. I was thinking about immigration today, and I don't mean illegal immigration. I'm thinking about all immigration. And I'm thinking that honestly, I think immigration at this point in time, at this vantage point in the United States of America is a bad thing. And I'm going to tell you why it's a bad thing. Because we have all these visas for people that were coming here to do specialized things, you know, jobs that Americans couldn't do and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
And that's what that vacuum is and that's what that thing is. But I think that what we're actually getting with these people, whether they be highly skilled or not, is we're really getting the shit of other countries, no matter
You
what.
know,
We're
I
getting the
agree with
P,
that in a
we're
case.
getting the P, we're getting the PhD shit, we're getting the doctor shit, we're getting the manager shit. We're getting the shit. And when I'm telling you, the reason why I say that it's not because their education is higher than other people and it's whatever. It's because of exactly what you just said. They're not a part of this community. They're not
Mhm.
coming here for community. And a lot of
No,
times, if you're a doctor in another country, you're not making as much money as you're making in the United States with this bullshit system that doesn't cure anybody. Those
right.
doctors in those other countries, they've got to cure people and they're not getting paid $100,000, $200,000 a year. They're not
Hmm.
making that money. But when they come to the United States, and I've talked to people in this situation, and
Hmm.
I said, why do you come to this country? Well, because I can't make this money in my country. So then
Right.
they come here, they act like shitheads, and they do all the stuff that is like negative and to the community because they're not a part of this community. They don't give a
Well,
fuck.
they don't know, right? You don't
I would say they don't
they
care.
don't have a dog in the game.
Yeah.
They don't have a dog in the fight. So if you don't, what happens is a lot of times when you don't understand the culture. So just imagine immersing yourself in another culture at 50,
Mm.
right, or whatever age. Like I mean, but an adult age.
Let's just say
You go
30.
from one place.
Say 30.
Okay, so you immerse yourself in another culture at 30, a place where you've never been.
Mhm.
All you bring in is what you had in whatever place you originated.
Mhm.
Those are all the thoughts, that's all you have. So when
Mhm.
you go to that other place, the indoctrination, the indoctrination is the thing. And in America, the indoctrination is poor people ain't shit.
Well, let me tell you something. My feeling is that honestly, when I say that these people are shit, I don't believe that they have to be indoctrinated to believe that. I believe that they're coming here to escape. Some of them are coming here because they are poor in their country and because they have different
Right.
systems, like, for example, a system in India. where no
Right.
matter how successful you are, you're never going past a certain level because they feel like you were born into this
Right.
grouping, and that's where you're going to stay. So now you come to the United States, and now you can be adopted and exalted, and people can actually respect you until you run into someone from your country who feels like you're a piece of shit because of who you are, because of what your last name is, what your region is, wherever you come from. And now you're a piece of shit again, and you have these feelings of inadequacy that goes along with that. So this is what I mean when I say that we're getting the shit people, because they're coming here to basically look down on other people and not
But
other people down.
so this is where I will push back. So if you're a poor person in, just because you used India, let's use India. If you're a poor person in India and then you come here and you strike it rich, right?
Mhm.
You are still a person who has caste system in their head.
Mhm.
And now that you are rich, you probably treat other people the way that you recall being treated as a poor person when you were in India.
Right.
So it's not so, but that's what I mean. Like the indoctrination of it is where we're losing it, right? Well, I mean, I guess I can't say that because America is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Right.
what I mean? We
Exactly.
treat poor people the same way. So
Exactly.
yeah, I guess you're right.
Exactly. We're getting all the shit. And this is the reason why, because it's not business. It's not, Jack. This is the richest country in the world. If the
Right.
people decided that everyone in this country was going to have a fucking plate at 6 o'clock, everybody would have a plate at 6 o'clock.
Right.
If you wanted everyone to have an education, everyone would have an education. It's the competition, the competitive aspect of this country that has taken us and put us in a situation where we're willing to give all of it, everything to foreign billionaires who are not Americans. The two guys that are the most influential in policy in the United States of America, neither one of them were born in the United States of America. And I don't even want to say the names, because if I say the names, I don't want to get on, but there were these two
Mm-hmm.
guys, and neither one of them are Americans. And they're telling white Americans what they should be doing. But you motherfuckers, we grew up in the greatest country in the world. You start listening to these motherfuckers, and now all of a sudden gas is $4.50. Are you fucking kidding me? You think that you're smarter? You think you're actually winning? The problem with this country is very simple. We got to a point where things were going so well and people were doing so well that this guy looked over here and said, you know what? I don't think I'm going to live next to him. He
Mm-hmm.
has the same ideas and thought processes. And I can tell you right now, as someone who has spoken to easily over 100,000 people in his lifetime on the phone working, okay? People are fucking the same, all right? The black people, the Spanish people, the white people, they're all the fucking same. They really are. Everybody will get over if they possibly can. They want to raise their families. There's no such thing as a deadbeat dad in in one race more than the other and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We are all products of our environment. And
Right.
it's not going to get no better. And unfortunately, for these people with what's going on, it just is what it is. But you know what? We go on and on and on these conversations. One of the things that has made our show really great in the past is because of the fact that we get on these tangents and we start talking about one thing and all this truth starts coming out. And the next thing you know, it's like, the show is over and the hour is up
Right.
and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even trying to do an hour these days. I'm trying to do a little bit less than an hour. But there were certain things that I wanted to cover, I wanted to get into, and so I'm gonna flip the subject right now and go to something different.
Yes, sir.
And one of those things that we're gonna talk about right now is very simple. We're gonna talk about some fuckery. Yes,
Of
fuckery
course.
in business.
Mm-hmm. Always a good topic.
We gotta keep the audience engaged and everything. So, you know, I had sent you that clip
Yeah.
earlier, and this is blowing up all over in the Black community. This Caucasian Hispanic girl, giving advice to her little sister about how to score a Black man.
Oh, that was her little sister. I didn't catch that part.
Oh yeah, that was a little sister. It was like it. And I'm just gonna play a little bit of it so that way we get people haven't heard it. This cat, by the way, let me give this guy his props, is Mr. Red Pills, Joe Carney. He did a great job of putting this in the synopsis. I had seen it before. Someone else putting the synopsis, but I really like the way he put it. And that's the reason why I said it said Mr. Red Pills.
The NFL control job like you did. I want your life. That's easy. But you have to play your cards right. You can't be an emotional. Teach you. To one, he's the prize. Remember, he can change your life. You can't change it. Two, dealing with cheating, don't look for it. Girls will throw themselves at him, and some will succeed. It is just a fling. Let it go. But don't let him get emotionally attached to one of them. P.S. He always be attracted to Black girls. Get the shit naming out by picking that up and let him see it. He'll.
Oops. That was the most controversial thing that she said in the entire thing. Debate the shitty name. Make her mad.
Yeah, make her mad. Right.
And she learns.
So I'll say this. I don't think that has anything to do necessarily with catching an athlete. I think that just has to do with the ability to keep a man. I mean, athletes, okay, cool. But yeah, I think you could just chalk that up to what you do to keep a man.
And that's really what it was. She was really cooking because she was giving good advice. And I was reading some of the comments, and a lot of the Black women were upset. But let me tell y'all something and everything. And this is no knock on Black women whatsoever. Y'all motherfuckers, you see us? This is two brothers up here talking to you, right? We the originals. Y'all the fucking originals. Y'all just done forgot it. You forgot it. All these things that these women are doing for these men, Black women used to do for their men.
Right.
And now you think that it's actually better to complain about not getting gifts or to argue or to trade one guy who may have your back in a gunfight for another one who will pay for someone to come and shoot you. Bing, 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 bing. If you get too far, if you get pregnant. Y'all just don't, they just don't get it, to a certain extent. This is just being a good woman, like you said, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's how we look at it though. And because just being honest, I don't think a younger cat would necessarily agree with us. Because, and I'm saying that because he likely has never seen that in action.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we had grandmas that did it. Our mothers did it to some extent, but it's, we've just gotten further and further away from that kind of, serving your spouse. So, when I look at relationships, what I've learned over the course of my life and all of the relationships that I've had that have failed, the thing that I'm supposed to do in my mind is to be a servant to the person that I choose. I should put them first.
But that's a two-way street.
And hopefully, exactly. Hopefully they will put me first. So me taking care of her should equal her taking care of me, so that we're both taken care of. Because I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do for me too,
right?
Just like she's gonna do for her as well. But if I'm looking out for her first, she's looking out for me first. Then I already know I love me, so I know what I'm gonna do. So her coming around and doing that extra is just gonna lift me up. And same thing for her. She loves herself. So me coming around doing that extra is just going to lift her up, and then high tide raises all boats.
Right. Let's add to the pile. Let's not subtract from it.
Right.
You know, it's very simple. Like whenever I look at these young people and I see what they're doing in terms of relationships and how they're quote unquote choosing their mates and everything, the bag has way too much of a connotation with this shit. But honestly speaking, I wouldn't be fucking with none of y'all. If I was in my 20s right now, if I was a man in my 20s, like back in the day, I'd be focused on getting money and paying hookers. And I ain't never fuck with a hooker in real life.
So,
you know, I've never paid a hooker in my life. But
let's not confine it to young people. Okay. Let's not confine it to young people though. But people like you and I, let's keep it personal. You and I, because I'm the same way. Right. I ain't never paid for nothing.
Right.
That's just not my MO. If I can't talk up on it, then I don't deserve it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And if I can't convince you to spend time with me because you like me, I don't know what to fucking do with you. Like honestly speaking, all you're gonna do is, you know, look at the bank thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I wasn't nice to you or polite to you. And they think that that's sweet. That is literally prostitution. That is literally prostitute behavior. And there's so many women out here that teach other women prostitution behavior. This woman is not teaching that. She's teaching something different. It's bad, but it's different. It's prostitution.
What was one of the first things that she said? I don't know how many numbers we got to, but one of the first ones was he's the prize.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so we can reverse that too. Just to say the same thing that I said. If I'm the prize to her and she's the prize to me, it just means that we cater to one another.
Yes.
Right. In order to keep this thing cracking.
And that is exactly what a relationship is supposed to be. I think that Black people have forgotten about Black love. They say Black love, but they don't understand what that shit means no more.
No.
A lot of them. Too many of us do not understand. Nobody is going to love you. Nobody's going to love you or give a fuck about you if all you care about is whether or not I can pay for you to get your hair and your nails done. You know, when it comes down to it, you know, I'm just going to trade you in for somebody with nicer hair and nails. And then what happens is when you feel that, when you wasted your time being with this person for 3-4 years, and he's been taking care of all your needs, and now the shit is getting old, and he's tired of taking care of your needs, right? He's getting tired of what's the old saying? Show me a beautiful woman, I'll show you a man who's tired of begging her, right? So you're up against a wall that's going to exist. It's going to be there. How do you get around that, ladies? By being nice.
I'm gonna circle back to it again. When he gets tired of taking care of you, it's probably because you have not been taking care of him. Because if you doing what I want, I'm not gonna get tired of doing what you want.
Right.
We don't mind performing. Right. But you have to perform as well. Now, you know, now we into this thing where, you know, women don't want to go 50-50 and they don't want to eat at it wasn't a Cheesecake Factory that they don't want to eat at anymore. Yeah. So, I mean, like all this kind of stuff. See, all that stuff is just, to me, that's all just talk.
It's cool.
Right. None of that's what you're talking about matters.
Right.
For me, and I'm saying this only for me, and for me in my life, if I say we gotta go to Cheesecake Factory and you're like, Cheesecake Factory, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I holiday. I'm going to Cheesecake Factory.
Right. McDonald's it is, right? You have to eat McDonald's tonight.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
But it's so many things that, because I'm slow to hire and quick to fire. Right. So it's any number of things that can easily drop you off the radar.
Right.
So
Good.
And that's the kind of thing is all I'm saying.
Well, and let's be honest about this. We're talking about high value earners, NFL players, NBA players, and professional athletes. They have a different lifestyle. We're not talking about average dudes, right? We're talking in context of these dudes. These guys have to wake up. They're doing 2 days. They might have to be at the stadium at 7 a.m.
Right.
Nobody got time to fucking chase you down and listen to your dreams at fucking 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night and everything. I get paid, $1.4 million this year to do this. And if I do my job right, I may get 3, 4, 5, 7 more, in my next contract per year. You got to help me get to that. And I think that most people and this is not just like black women. I don't want to just put this on black women. I want to put this on all gold digging women. You know what I'm saying? If y'all ain't fucking and then if you're not adding to that equation, how the fuck do you think somebody's going to what exactly is this value that you think? I think the value is simply in that punani at that point, because I can't talk to you. You're not the love of my life. I'm not the love of your life and everything. I can't even really trust you, because if somebody comes around you and it starts throwing more dollars in your way, you're going to be out. So you're not loyal. So now I got something else to think about. Is my woman with all this body sharing that body with other people? Or, it's like, it just doesn't compute. A man cannot do that. And
it's a transactional, when you're just talking about a transactional relationship, right? Because if the money is the thing that matters the most to one party or the other, if the guy just has enough money that he can throw money at whatever problem you have, or if she just wants more, right? Either way, whichever way the money makes the relationship work, the relationship at some point will become transactional. And transactional relationships never last, because somebody at some point, if there's feelings involved, right? If you can stay in a transactional relationship. If there's no feelings involved, in my mind, I can stay in a transactional relationship forever.
Right.
As long as I can afford the transaction.
Right.
I can stay in that relationship.
And don't expect anything else.
Right.
Don't expect anything
I can
else.
do that my whole life as long as I can afford it. But if what I want is something true, something real, then we have to at some point get away from the transactional piece and move more toward an inward discovery of what I can do to assist you on your journey and what you can do to assist me on the journey.
Go ahead.
No, and what we can do to assist each other along this journey that we're going to take together.
Right. And the truth of the matter is, if someone had that type of low, a lot of y'all wouldn't exist. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because, we're still talking about the black community here, where, per capita, the poorest community. So, somebody got to make love without having money, or else you're not even here. So for you to break it down, this is an example of becoming your oppressor. So I'm not going to sit up here and down someone else for not having what I was able to attain by good fortune, luck, or whatever, and everything. And I don't want to get anyone twisted with this. I don't have any money. Don't come knocking on my door. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that.
That part.
That part is important. But the part about the fact that we need to understand that money is not the way that you get money. Like my father, when my mother and my father met, they ain't had shit. You know what I'm saying? They were living in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? My mother was a hustler. My father was a truck driver. My mother worked. She became the superintendent of the building that they were staying in. So now the rent is free. My father's going out there. He's doing his job, going back and forth. He's bringing home these bonds. And at a time when they weren't selling black people homes, they were able to get enough money to sell a home by working together to get that home. And today, you tell that story, there'll be a hoodie black woman that'll come on in and say, well, what if she would have left him? What if he would have left her before that happened? And she would have been left with nothing. You got to protect your fucking back. And the truth of the matter is, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And another thing I wanted to talk about, I wanted to mention with that is that you can divorce that man and you can get half his shit. And all these complaints about generational wealth, only staying in the community, and he married this one, it goes with that one and everything. Where does the fucking wealth go when you fucking divorce his ass? And your ass is broke when your child turns 18, 19 years old. And now you're looking for another man and you still don't have any money. He ain't got no money because he gave it to you. You don't have no money because you've been living your best life on his pocket. It ain't no fucking generational wealth, because I don't see a whole bunch of baby mamas out here talking about, I'm taking care of my kids, and they're 24, 25, 26. That money is spent. It's spent. So what are we really talking about? And we're going to really do a forensic on a lot of these women that marry these high value men and divorce them. Most of them bitches go broke. So basically, you're not even working for your community. You're just basically saying, I don't want that bitch to have it. I should have it. I don't want that bitch to have it.
Right.
And that ain't going to do your kids no good. It ain't going to do your family no good. It ain't going to do me no good as the man, because I'm going to be broke and I can't get it back. And I need it. And like the woman said, he has the value. He can change your life. But you know what? You can change his life too by doing what she tells you you need to do. Whether you do it willingly. The reason why I mention this because it's like a lot of men are saying the same thing about that clip. Like, she ain't fucking rude. Nah. A lot of dudes will take that trade off. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think she's just talking about how to cater to a man, right? How to. I mean, we're pretty simple creatures, by and large. We're pretty simple creatures.
Yeah.
And all she said was be of value to him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she said some other things too, but the gist of it, right? Whatever she said that people have a problem with, in my mind, when I read it, the gist of what she said is be of service to that man and make yourself of value in his life. And he'll keep you.
And he'll keep you around. And he'll love you. Forget about all the other stuff. He'll love you. I think that the value, what has happened to me over the past couple of years, it's really made me value my relationship. Okay.
So I don't think that women understand how much men value loyalty.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's because I don't necessarily think that women value loyalty like we do.
No, they don't. They think it's like, because they went around and they say these things, oh, men, they're all dogs and they'll do this and that and this and everything. And the reason why a lot of these women, let's keep it a buck. The reason why a lot of these women know that these men are dogs is because they the bitches that be going around humping on them. You a dog,
right,
and everything.
Right.
Bitch is a female dog. That's who they humping.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you are basically with everybody in America casts aspersions. You know what I'm saying? We all think that whoever the person is that's over there, they would do the same thing that we would do. And that ain't fucking right. It ain't right. So listen, we've been on the show for a long time. I know we're getting close to an hour. I was trying to keep these shows closer to 45 minutes, but one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is because it's so easy to talk to you and to get back in the flow. And we've been having these conversations since we were 18 or 19.
Right.
And, they didn't always go well, but we had them, but we had them and we got through them. So, the last thing I want to do is I want to end this on a positive note. I want to end the show on a positive note. So we were talking about before the show, the roast of Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see the whole thing.
It's long. Yeah, I saw a lot of it, but I didn't see it all. It's long. It's like 3 hours.
Yeah, it's very long. I'm about halfway through at the time of this. I'm watching it. You can only take a couple of jokes, but This was something that I wanted in the show, and I want you to listen to this clip from one of the people. It's like,
Fearless man, been at highlights.
Kevin Hart.
So you coming out here, quite the fucking surprise, but I can sit, I can watch you, I can learn. I'm gonna fucking say it first, okay? I'm gonna say it first. Man, we have an opportunity in real time. This is live television to put our fucking beat behind us. I am offering it in celebration of peace. I want to be a brother. I want to be a friend. Yeah, I want to move on. Can we move on, man? Can we move on?
Beautiful moment.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful moment. I don't know if you saw that, but that clip with the hug between the two brothers that have been going at each other comically for a long time. Let's be honest. If I was Kevin Hart, I probably would have asked for that truce too, because Kathy's
right. Yeah, he's just smoke.
Oh my God.
All the smoke.
Flames him. And then, but whatever. And if you haven't seen like Cat's appearance on that roast, you're in for a treat. Dude was hilarious. He basically killed it. But in that spirit, I just want people to remember that things are going to get worse before they get better. And normally I'm not like all gloom and doom. I'm always like laughing because I always see ways out of it, But this time we may be up against a situation where things could fundamentally change in a serious way for a lot of us across the country. And each region is going to have its own challenges. And, in the spirit of Kat and Kevin Hart getting back together and making peace with each other, we haven't had like peace in the community for a very long time, since probably the Million Man March, when we had the ceasefire that held for a little while, quite a while, between the two major gangs in the country and everything. And that's what we need. And we need to start in our own communities with stopping the violence against each other and banding together, because that's the reason why these gangs were created in the first place, to protect the community, not to abuse the community. If y'all remember what your mission statement is and everything, it's time to go back to that. And then we can expand, and we can possibly go and build some boundaries and some coalitions in other places and work it out. Some of us ain't never going to get there. You know what I'm saying? And tolerance is really the best thing that we can actually find. Don't ask if you're a gay person, you say that I don't want to be with this person because he doesn't want to walk down the street on fucking during the parade that we're having this week and everything. Well, some motherfuckers ain't into parades, motherfucker. They don't want to be there and everything.
Right.
You need to stop worrying about that and start worrying about, is this person actively getting involved to stop things in my life? And we need to come together a little bit more, because, we're all targets. It just seems as if certain ones of us are more target than others, but we're all targets and we're on the fucking menu. So
absolutely,
we need to be aware of that and everything. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about, but I don't think we have. I don't think we have time. I think we're just going to have to call it a night here, Grant.
Because I don't think we got to much of what we were supposed to be talking about.
It always happens. It always happens that way. Just so you know, like, pre-production, post-production, I don't usually do much of it. I usually rely on the intelligence and the savvy of my ghost, but I actually did do some pre-production and send out some stuff to Grant about what we were going to talk about. And of course, we ain't get together yet. Shit. None of it. None of it. Have a look at the listener. Let me see that we get to something. All right. Redistricting maps in the South. We didn't get to that. We got to get 5 minutes on that, because I actually feel like with all this redistricting maps that are going on, there's a big push for athletes to not go to schools in the South and ACC.
Look, I'm on the HBCU train.
Okay.
Don't go to none of them.
Don't go to none of them.
Go to an HBCU.
Okay. And I feel that
I have a problem with even sending to a smaller PWI, new language. Even if you send if your kid gets a scholarship to a smaller PWI and you pay them, you know, if you pay an X amount of dollars for them to go, right? What's the difference between the HBCU? Because you can flip the script.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can, if you are, let's say, A-Cuff, the kid that just came out, right? Let's just use him. If you were A-Cuff coming out of high school right now, and you decided to go to an HBCU, NIL dollars will probably follow you there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I get it. You know, the facilities are different. You know, they're not state of the art like at, but if it starts, you start funneling money over there, all of a sudden you can start building these facilities the way that you want them. But somebody has to move over there. And with this whole thing, with this gerrymandering and all that, where they, you know, tearing South Carolina apart and all this kind of jazz, I kind of wish Dawn Staley would just be like, you know what?
How about that?
I'm gonna holler at y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna holler at y'all until y'all can get it right. Me and my people, we up out of here. You know, and I mean, go to an HBCU though.
Yeah. I'm with that. And there's not really much to add to that. Like, honestly speaking, I think that you probably hit it on the nail. We should be doing that. We should be sending our kids to HBCUs. We attended an HBCU.
Absolutely.
We got the benefit of that. And that experience is never going to leave us no matter what. And things need to change. My brother,
Yes,
Grant
sir.
Lancaster.
Thank you, my brother. Again, it's good to see you looking healthy again.
Yeah, I got the afro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you do. I'm mad that you can still grow one. I'm kind of hating on you.
Hey, man.
May have to drop a dime.
I had a whole conversation this week. I put up a picture with myself, hair and comb. This is comb now, but it's a headphone that pushes it there, whatever messes it all up. And I was trying to decide, should I bald, touch it, or just keep it? My cousin told me cut it off and everything. Keisha, Keisha. Some people said let it rock. You know, Rob, when I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and his girlfriend, who I met for the first time, was like, she was like, why'd you grow it? And he said, without hesitation, he answered for me, because he fucking can.
Of course.
And I wish that I could, and it looks like it is what it is. But I'm loving the hair right now. I'm appreciating it. It feels like a part of my journey. And I kind of want to cut it back off and get back to the bald head, you know, because I'm a bald head. But I feel like this hair is a part of my journey, you know, and it's difficult for me to let go of that time, because then I'm moving on to the next thing. And the next thing ain't going to be sweet. We talking about this shit. Born in Trouble,